Greetings, everyone. My name is Ron Jennings with the Jennings Business Group. And today we're going to see a workshop by the name of Changing Your Life Through Better Money Management. So welcome. And our objectives are to help clients change their lives by learning how to find employment, live within your means, use mainstream financial services, and reduce debt. Finding employment. The keys to finding and maintaining employment will be updating your job skills, meaning bring your resume current. For anything you've done in the past, put that on there. Latest job, education, things like that. Okay, how long you've been at that job, how long you've been in the field, if you're looking for something in a particular field. Find job opportunities. There's various ways to do that. You can always look in the want ads, classified ads in the newspaper, and there's many services in Montgomery County that help you find a job. You can go to libraries. There's things posted on the library, so you might be able to find something where people are in need of employees. Dressing for an interview at work, we're going to talk about. Getting to work and finding childcare, understanding your paycheck, and reviewing your benefits. All right, let's get started. So updating your job skills. Prepare for the competition. Know what's out there. Know what everybody's looking for, these employers. Review your skills. If you feel as though you're lacking in something that the employer might want, update those skills. If you have to get some training or a little more education, do that. Seek out nonprofit groups that provide assistance. As I mentioned a little earlier, some of the groups, they offer you resume writing. They may guide you to places where you can get certain types of information, and even the proper accounting on that. Look for financial aid in classes. Part of what we're doing now at the workshops are offering you those classes to help you do what you have to do and get better assistance. To help you find your job opportunities, create a resume. Write down your work history, the dates, your skills, how long you've been in that position, so that if it doesn't look as though you leave one job and go to another. So you want to show your work history, something that's a bit stable. Also write down your references. Many of those references come from past jobs, past job opportunities. Those are the best references that you can have. Search in person over the internet and visit job placement centers. So searching in person might mean, depending on your skill, you may go out and knock on the doors and look in agencies that may have no problem with people walking in where you ask them, can you use some help to talk about your skills? Over the internet, as we all know, we can search that night and day. You might be able to find something there. Be leery of what's out there. Make sure it's something you know about or understand that's on the internet. There's plenty of job placement centers out here in Montgomery County. I'm sure there's some of them here at today's college program. So go for those places and look, and they'll help you find something because they can understand your skills and help you find what's better suited for you. Network with employed friends and families. Okay, people you might know, they may know that there's openings on their jobs. They might say, well, you know what, my job, we do this, and they're looking for 2 or 3 people. Why don't you come down for an interview? Another one is your family member. They don't know that you're out of a job. Let them know. Maybe they say, oh, well, why don't you come and give this a try? Dressing for interviews and work. Interviews require nice clothes, even for casual jobs. And I must insist on you paying attention to that. If you are going for a job, that maybe it's a blue-collar job, maybe it's a job where you get dirty during the day, let's say you're an auto mechanic or something like that, don't dress as if you're coming to do that job. Dress for an interview, because during that interview, they might have 2 or 3 job openings. You went to go for one, but maybe because of your personality and maybe because of your dress, they'll say, well, you know what? What would you think about looking at this position? And that position might be something that offers more money or whatever the case may be. So there's the term, and I'm sure you've heard it, dress for success. So no matter what you're going to do or what you're looking for, dress properly. Nonprofit organizations can tell you where to provide you interview clothes. Some of it is at no charge, where you can go get a suit or a dress or something like that and pay a minimum fee. If you can't afford something expensive, go to some of the thrift shops that are around. The average suit at a thrift shop costs $25. A pair of nice slacks and a jacket might be $7. Okay, and that's if you need something like that. The information and the opportunities are out there. Buy classic styles and neutral colors. You may be used to dressing a certain way, you know, around the house or in another job where you may be wearing loud colors or bright colors or something like that. While seeing a job, wear neutral colors. Wear basic blues and black. The men, blue, black, and brown. Okay, women dress conservatively also. Because like I said, you never know where you might fit into another position that you're eligible for. Getting to work and finding childcare. This is a big deal for a lot of people. Getting to work on time is important for employees. Take public transportation if you have, if it doesn't limit job opportunities. Out here in Montgomery County, we have good transportation, but we also know that every public transportation doesn't go everywhere. So be careful if you're seeking job opportunities. Make sure you're able to get there. Make sure you be able to get there on time. If you're going working someplace where you have to take a bus, know that bus's schedule. So even if you have to get to work a little earlier by catching an earlier bus, do that. At least you're on the premises. If you're there too early, sit down and have a cup of coffee. Or be at the coffee shop as long as you're in the area. Okay? Buy cars used and consider all expenses. If you can't get there via public transportation and you have to buy a car for yourself and you have to buy a used car, make sure you're buying something that's pretty much in shape. You don't want something to buy a jalopy or something from a friend or whatever. They want to get rid of their car. Make sure it's going to work. Everything is working properly. You don't want to get some used car that is only going to be in good shape for a month or two. Because if that's going to obviously make it unable for you to get to work, which is going to be probably catastrophic. You might be out of work. Okay? Quality child care helps you focus on the job. We all know that. Consider the trusted family member. I can't imagine any mother who's at work not considering how their child is doing. Okay? And the person that they left them with, which is going to throw you maybe out of focus. You don't want to do anything like that. Yes, leaving them with a family member is okay, then you don't have a problem, okay? But leaving them with, say, a paid babysitter that maybe you don't have experience with, you're going to think about it, what's going on, what did they do today, until you know and you have trust that everything is fine with your child. Make sure that licensed caregiver is licensed, excuse me. You don't want to just drop them off with somebody that says, oh yeah, I do babysitting. I do child care. Look into their credentials. You don't want to leave your child with just anyone. Understanding your paycheck. Gross pay is the amount you earn. Net pay is your take-home pay. Your earnings, which is your earnings minus the deductions. A lot of people, not a lot of people, but many people might say, oh, I'm going to make $30,000 a year. Well, you're not bringing home $30,000 a year. And that's because of the deductions. You're going to have federal income tax, local income tax, Social Security income tax is going to come out, Medicare taxes are going to come out, and there's other benefits such as other deductions such as benefits. And maybe those benefits might be if the company offers health coverage. They may offer health coverage, but you may have to pay a certain amount of that coverage. Maybe the plan you're looking at costs $500 a month. The company might pay half or a portion, and you pay the other portion. Okay, that's going to come out of your paycheck before you bring home your bacon, so to speak. So make sure you know what's being taken out. Union dues sometimes is taken out. So know everything. So like I said, you might be making 30 or 40,000, but you won't be bringing home that amount. So know what to look for. Review benefits and deductions. Other paychecks deductions may include, as I mentioned, health and dental insurance, life and disability insurance, retirement plans, charitable contributions, and work expenses such as parking or maybe even uniforms if you have that type of job. Now, focusing on the top two, if your company offers health and dental insurance, it's going to be at a discount unless you can get on the health exchange, okay? Life and disability is also at a discount. So if anything, get these benefits through your job if you can. Now, keep in mind, though, that if you leave that job, those benefits, the health and dental and the life and disability insurance, don't normally come with you unless the company allows you to convert it to a product that you can carry with you. So be careful of that. My advice is when it comes to life and disability insurance, especially life insurance, if the company is offering you, which they are, they're going to offer you term insurance. But if you can afford it, try to get some outside insurance. other than what's offered through the job. Because as I mentioned, if you leave that job, that life insurance is gone. Let's say you've been at the job 10 years. When you start there, you're 30. Everything is in good health, you get the insurance, but you leave 10 years later, you're 40, okay? You may not be in the best of health. So it might be a little more difficult for you to be underwritten for life insurance or even health insurance for that matter. So there's different ways to do it. Take advantage of what's on the job, but also keep in mind you need something permanent yourself. Retirement plans. Some jobs offer you pensions, 401k plans, and 403b plans. Usually pensions are part of the job. You may have to be there a few years before you get started. Same thing with 401k and 403b plans. Now, those are plans that I strongly urge you to contribute to. A lot of jobs, you can get those plans immediately. You may have to go through a probation period, say 6 months to a year, before they offer that plan. But for 401k plans, I especially urge you, if the company offers it, many times that organization offers you a company match. So what that does is they're going to take the money you say, okay, I'm going to give 10% of my salary. And by the way, the money that comes out for the 401k plans, they're pre-tax. So if you make $1,000 a week and you want to give 10%, then $100 is going into that 401k plan, and $900 is what's being taxed and all that deductible comes about. That's why later on in life, when you get ready to retire and take that money out, you have more taxes at the time because that's when you pay your taxes. However, you're older and and if you retire, you're in a lower tax bracket. So you're going to pay less taxes on those funds. So I strongly urge you, if you can, if they offer a 401k plan, get that. And especially if they do a company match. And we can talk about investment if you want to get involved in that, contact me. But one rule of thumb is that if your company contributes 10, 20, 30%, and you're investing in mutual funds, whatever that company contribution is where you invest the most riskier funds. Because if you happen to go where those funds go down, you're putting the company's contribution at risk, not your fund. However, when funds go up, if it's a risky fund, you have the opportunity to make a lot of money on your funds. And the money's going to be there for a while, okay? Retirement plans, you might have a pension that you're entitled to, get that. If they say they offer you this retirement plan, but you have to contribute, look into that too. Also, for things like that, get somebody to help you consult, somebody such as myself. But if you know someone else and you feel more comfortable with that person, ask. Just don't make decisions right away when it comes to investing in your retirement. You want to make sure you're good for later on when you expect to retire. Charitable contributions might come out. You know, many of us, especially me in the early days, we used to buy savings bonds. So we used to have money taken out of our paychecks to purchase savings bonds for those travel. That's for yourself, but also we had money come out for Red Cross. Okay, so those were our charitable contributions. That money would come out and it goes to the Red Cross or something like that. Now there's a lot of charitable organizations out there, but if your job has something that you can, and if you want to do it and you're able to do it, you go ahead and do it. Consider work expenses, such as parking, and if you have to get a uniform. Many organizations might supply you with a uniform, or they might tell you, well, you have to wear a uniform, but you have to purchase it yourself, and that comes out of your paycheck. So take all of that into consideration. There's jobs where they may offer parking, they may be parking on site or otherwise, but you may have to pay for that parking. However, it may be discounted because you're employee. So look at everything that the company is offering as far as benefits and deductions. Live within your means. Keys to living well without becoming saddled with debt. Stretch your food dollars. Just don't go, if I can say, don't go to the local 7-Elevens or whatever the case might be to spend money on buying food. Go to the supermarket, larger organizations like that, buy in bulk. When you buy in bulk, make sure you buy things that are going to last for a while, such as paper towels, toilet paper, other things like that. It's definitely a necessity, but if you buy it in bulk, you get a bigger sale on that. Okay, that's one way of stretching that. Buy meat or anything like that in bulk that you can put in the freezer. Look for sales. Save money on clothing. I can't put emphasis enough that if you're not in a position where you can buy expensive clothes, go to the thrift shops. Those thrift shops have clothes in there that I gave there, okay? I brought suits and things that somehow don't fit, and if I don't fit them, I don't want to throw them out. I spent a lot of money on those suits, so I take them to the thrift shop. Somebody's going to get that suit for $25 at a thrift shop. Somebody's going to get the slacks that I gave on an average of $7 at a thrift shop. Okay, so go to those thrift shops. You get something, you find something nice, you drop it off at the dry cleaner, it's fresh as a daisy. Okay, then you haven't spent much money on that. Reduce your transportation costs. You can do that by finding different ways. Maybe you can carpool with somebody that lives in your neighborhood or in the area that works at the job. Maybe you meet them after you get there, and you can carpool if you want. That can save each of you money. You might say, okay, I'll drive this week, you drive next week. Okay, your car stay in the garage or in the driveway. You're going to save money on gasoline there. Okay, and use a spending plan. Write down your expenses, what's incoming, what's outgoing, and know what you have to spend money on. A lot of people, and I tell you that because a lot of people, they go out lunchtime or breakfast time or whatever the case may be, and they may stop at Starbucks, okay, to get a coffee, spend $4, $5, $6, okay, where you might be spend less. It may not be that Starbucks if you go someplace else, a McDonald's, and get a coffee. Okay, it's going to cost you a lot less. So learn how to budget your money. If it's not something you need, if it's just an urge, then think about that if you really can't afford it until you can afford it, or you can treat yourself every once in a while. Brainstorming money ideas. We're going to talk about 3 key areas: food, clothing, and transportation. So stretch your food dollars. Plan meals according to sales. And that's a little bit about what I mentioned before. If you got a family, a big family, and you're cooking every day or whatever the case may be, buy food in bulk. Cook things that you know, okay, I'm going to cook all of this today, but I can freeze it. And we can eat it at another time. By that, you're saving money because you're not paying for another dinner. Also, you're saving time. When you come home, you may just have to thaw something out or put it in the microwave. Okay, so you're more relaxed and you're more comfortable. Cook and eat at home. Don't necessarily stop at a diner or whatever on your way home from work or on your way to work. Okay, eat at home before you go out. Eat at home once you come in. That's going to save you a lot of money. We all know you can go and you can eat, but you're going to spend a lot of money at restaurants. And I'm not suggesting you don't go, but pick and choose when you want to go. Maybe on payday, you're going to take the family or yourself out and you have a nice meal. Okay. Pack your lunches. Take lunch to work. I think the vast majority of people take leftovers and things like that. You made a good meal the night before. Take some of that for lunch the next day. Shop store brands. Use coupons. So if you go and you get rice and you buy it in bulk or something like that, you don't necessarily have to get Carolina rice or Uncle Ben's rice. You might get something a little less expensive, maybe the store brand that's mentioned here. Quite frankly, I think 7 times out of 10, you're not going to know the difference, as opposed to the store brand and the label brand that's more expensive and has a bigger value. I can't tell Maxwell House coffee from the store name coffee, I'll be honest with you. So I'm not going to buy Maxwell House coffee. I'm going to get the store brand. Avoid convenience stores. And I'm saying the 7-Elevens, okay? You can go there. They're convenient because they're on the corner. They're down the block. You could walk to them, okay? You want a bottle of soda or you want something else. They're going to be expensive. They're going to cost more than what it is in the supermarket. Now, they have signs on their windows and say, good sales, okay? And that might be something to go in. Maybe a case of soda might be $3.99, which might be the same thing as the supermarket. However, other items that you might purchase here, well, I'm going to get this case of soda, but I'm going to buy this, this, and that, and that's going to cost you a little more. So try to avoid them as much as possible. Save your shopping for when you can go to the supermarket or someplace where there's more volume and you can spend less money. Save money on clothing. Go to thrift stores, like I said. Flea markets, garage sales, off-season sales. Now, this part is what I always did, even when I was spending money, at Macy's or whatever. What I did back then, this was a few decades ago, I would buy my clothes because I wore suits every day. 5 days a week, pretty much 6 days because I went to church on Sunday. But for 5 days a week, I wore a suit. Okay, suits are expensive. So what I did at a certain time, I got to a point where during the winter time, the summer suits were on sale. Okay, at the end of winter, so I brought off season. I brought my winter suits during the summer and my summer suits during the winter. Okay, and that's when they were much cheaper because they were looking to get rid of them in the winter time so they could bring out the summer suit. So I've done that plenty of times, and it saved me a lot of money over the years. Where I spent my weakness was back then buying shirts, dress shirts, because I wore a suit every day. Okay, I could wear maybe that suit twice that week, but I wasn't going to wear a shirt twice. Okay, compare your prices. Look what this store offers as compared to what that other store offers. It may be the same product, and Macy's might have the same thing that's at a local store, but Macy's might be more expensive because of the Macy's brand. However, that suit or dress might not be any different. Okay, and ask for discount. You might walk up to the cashier and you say, you know what? I don't see any more of these. This seems to be the last one on the rack. You're getting rid of it. Can I get it for a cheaper price or a bargain or whatever the case may be? No harm in asking. The cashier might say, well, we can't do that. Or the cashier might be the owner of the store. Okay, and say, okay, tell you what, give me $10 instead of $15. Okay, that might be one way that the store owner might say, well, okay, I'm going to bring this one back as a client because I've done them a good deed. Okay, and you may very well go back to them for that same reason. You may not get another discount, but it's the courteousness that they give. Reduce transportation costs. As I mentioned, carpool if you can. Okay, a lot of people on the same job, they might say, okay, we'll take my car this week, and we'll take your car next week. If you can, use public transportation, buses and the like. Now be careful with buses when you're using them, because not every place in Montgomery County do buses run, and they necessarily run with a good schedule. So you have to look up that. Wherever you're going from home, there are going to be buses and transportations, the metro, for that they can get you there and get you there in a timely manner, especially if you're just starting your job. Compare prices on insurance. That includes life insurance, health insurance, auto insurance, homeowners insurance. Don't just get the first thing that comes along. Look at whatever else is out there. Ask a few insurance salespersons like myself, and look for different categories and bargains. If you bought a $100,000 life insurance policy at Metropolitan, that $100,000, which might be expensive, that $100,000 life insurance is not going to be any different that you bought from another company where the premium is cheap. 100,000 is 100,000. Okay, no matter the brand. You do want to look at a reputable company like Metropolitan, Prudential, or something like that. But there's also a lot of carriers and insurance companies that's been around for a generation or three. So look into that, and they may offer a cheaper product, simply because maybe their expenses might be low. Shop around for the best prices on gas. I do that. I don't go too far looking for that, but I might go a mile out of the way if I see that this gas is 10 cents cheaper than the one right in my neighborhood. Okay, I'm not going to go over town, because by the time I go over town, I've wasted enough gas that I probably lost money. But if in the neighborhood something is 5 cents or 10 cents cheaper, and I'm going to fill up my tank, and I have an SUV, then I definitely am going to save a couple of dollars, okay, on gas, because I went a half a mile away, or even a mile away from what's local in my community. If you have to, research the best places to park, okay, safe places like that on that, especially if it's at work or in your area for that matter. Use a spending plan. And what is a spending plan? It's basically a budget. It's a tool for tracking your income and expenses and a path to increased stability. And what that means is they'll jot everything down. Okay, get a budget, get an app that shows a budget. You know, many people have their phones, apps, iPods, where you can just download a free app that's going to keep everything recorded. Okay, keep track of all of your expenses, even if it's going to Starbucks, buying a pack of gum, or whatever the case may be. You don't want to say at the end of the week, but where did all my money go? And you stop here or there and make little purchases that, oh, I forgot. Okay, I spent it on this, I spent it on that. That money can add up. If every day you do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, that might wind up being $20, $30, $40 a week, depending on what it is. And if you do that, if you shop around and keep track, you'll get a path to increased stability, because you're going to look at that monthly or weekly, and you're going to say, I shouldn't have spent that much money on that. Okay, I can eliminate this or eliminate that. So creating a spending plan, identify your income, list your expenses, compare your income versus your expenses, and set priorities and make changes. Okay, seek out what's important on that. You don't have to spend on certain things. The priorities are, well, I need to do this or I need to do that. Let me put this down at the bottom of the list, something that you might be used to doing on a regular basis. You're not going to do that. Okay, just look and see what your priorities are. Find money to save. The keys to saving is just basically getting started. You can open up an account. A lot of people don't do that. They take their money, they go to a check cashing place on the corner, and they get money orders. Not only are they being paid a fee for the cashing the check, but they're also paying a fee for money orders and things like that. Okay, where you don't need to do that. You open up a bank account, and there's organizations, some of them that are here at the college parent conference that offer services such as Bank On. There's Bank On Gaithersburg, where there's banks, well-known banks, that are part of that organization, that if you have bad credit, okay, or you have blemishes on your report, they'll look away at that. They might offer you an account where, okay, we'll give you a checking account, okay, but what you're going to have to do is open up an account in savings where you're going to put $50 in there, and you're going to let that $50 remain there. While that $50 is gaining interest, and I understand that's a lot of money, that's not a lot of money, but you're also securing yourself or building a relationship with that bank. And that bank might say, okay, you opened up this account, you got $50 in there, we're going to give you a free checking account. Okay? However, be careful with overdrawing and things like that. That's building a relationship with the bank. That's also saving you plenty of money where you're now writing checks for your bills. Okay? You're going to see when you have more and more money left over, where you might add on. You might say, okay, out of my money that gets deposited in here, my paycheck, as opposed to me going to the checking account, check cashing place, I'm going to, every paycheck, I'm going to put $20 in that savings. You're going to go on through life, do what you got to do, work, and before you know it, you're going to have money in that account that you probably wasn't expecting because you're going to throw it out of your mind. So avoid high-cost financial services, and that's part of what I'm saying. These, checking places that cash your check, charge you money for cashing it, charge you money if you need a money order, charge you money for everything. You don't need that. We also have, if you get income taxes due, right now, if you make under, I think it might be $56,000 a year, it's called VITA, the Volunteer Income Tax Association, where you can get your income tax done here in Montgomery County at no charge if you make less than that. Okay, it's done in an equal amount of time because your taxes get filed electronically. Okay, so your return comes back just as soon as if you were to pay somebody to do it. The thing here is, though, if you go through a VITA site in Montgomery County and have your taxes done, they file it right there. However, you can feel rest assured that if it says you're getting $2,000 back, you're going to get $2,000 back. However, if you go to some of these other places, H&R Block or the other ones that's on the corner, not only going to charge you a lot of money for filing, they're going to charge you money for filing. They're going to charge you money if it's electronic filing. They're going to offer you a loan against that return, which you might want right away so that you can have money. So that's going to become a loan, okay, that you'll have to give back when you get your return. However, the problem here is that if for some reason there's an error on your taxes, when these organizations, when these H&R Blocks and like said, okay, you're going to get $5,000 back, okay, and you go away happy, the IRS looks at it and say, oh, you left this out. You didn't include this dependent, or you didn't do that, and it's found out that you're going to get $1,000 back. However, H&R Block gave you $3,000 as a loan against what they told you were going to get back. Okay, you're going to get $1,000 back, and you're going to owe H&R Block all that money. Okay, whereas what you get with the VITA sites, whatever you're going to get, you're going to get. And like I said, they file electronically too. So you're going to get your money back just as quick. It's usually within 2 weeks from the state and the federal government, you'll have your tax return back. All right. Plug your spending leaks. Spending leaks might be little things that you spend money on that you're not thinking about. And I mentioned that before. Are you buying Starbucks 4 or 5 times a day? That's a lot of money. You might be spending $20 or $30 a day just on little things like that. Starbucks, because you go twice a day, 3 times a day, you're going to buy this or that. So look at something like that. Maybe I should stop doing that. Maybe I should not get as many things like that. Okay, or spending money on things you really don't need, but because you're used to doing it, you're going to do it. Understand credit versus debt. Okay, debt is what you owe. Credit is obviously what they're going to give you, saying, okay, we're going to trust you to do that, so we're going to give you $1,000 line of credit, or whatever the case may be. But we assume you're going to pay that. Okay, debt is part of that. Debt is what you owe. You may owe debt to the IRS. You may owe debt to the landlord. Okay, and try to reduce that. Sit with somebody. Sit with someone like myself or any other financial counselor that can help you with things like that. Creating a budget and helping yourself with that. Start a savings habit. Start small. Establishing a habit is more important than the amount. And like I said, open up an account, put $50 in that account. Okay, and if you can only put $10 a week, $20 a week, or $50 a month, or something like that, do it and forget about it. Okay? Small amounts add up over time. You're going to make those electronic deposits out of your paycheck systematically, and when you go on through life, you're not going to think about that. Oh, I got to make this deposit. Or I promised myself I'm going to do that. It's going to be automatic. And before you know it, you're going to have some money in those accounts because you're going to get that statement once a month. You might be in for a few surprises. Okay, and that's going to encourage you to do more. Okay, maybe you get a certain amount of money in there that you're not going to touch. So instead of having, say, $1,000 in that savings account that you're getting 0.5% and you're not using it, then that's the time when you say, okay, this bank is also offering a 3-month CD at maybe 0.5% more, or 1%. I urge you, if you're not touching the money and it's for 3 months, purchase that CD. That's how you start to save and accomplish things. Pay yourself first, like treat savings like a bill and save loose change. Paying yourself first is probably what I was talking about, not probably, is what I was talking about, what I said when you have a 401k or a 403b. Paying yourself first is because that money is going to come out to go to the 401k before taxes start taking out. They start taking taxes out on your paycheck. So you're paying yourself first by that, untaxed. Using a bank or credit union, mainstream financial institutions are banks, credit unions, savings, and financial loans. And like I said, look at the bank on Davisburg. They have exhibits and everything all over town. They're certainly going to be at the the single parent conference. So look at them there. Look them up there. There's a lot of services there. Benefits of that is there's convenience. You can do a lot of things online. You can have your money direct deposit. You may never have to walk into a bank. I rarely walk into a bank. Okay, everything is done automatically and systematically. Okay, you can deposit checks online. They let you take pictures of your deposits front and back and deposit it into your accounts electronically. There's security if you're at a bank. Chances are you're not going to get robbed or money taken away if you have it in the shoebox in the closet. The banks are secure. There's security there, so even if the bank, something did happen to the bank, most funds, everyone has pretty much a guarantee of security of $100,000 of deposit. So that's the FDIC. It may have changed, but if you have less than $100,000 and the bank defaults or something like that, you're guaranteed to get your money. They're low cost, okay, on that, usually with these things. Avoid high cost financial services. Expensive ways to use your money. Check cashing outlets. I can't put an emphasis more on how you should not be using those outlets. Because once you go in, cash your check money, buy money orders, more money, you might see something there that they have hanging along the way. Lotto tickets. A lot of people, okay, I've cashed my check. I've paid you X amount of dollars. Now, let me try the lotto, okay? Payday loans. You don't want to do that. Okay, that's very dangerous. If you don't pay their payday loan back, you're in a lot of trouble. Things multiply. Okay, your money can double. You can never get out of that type of debt. Tax refund anticipation loan, and that's what I talked about as far as going to these places that do your taxes, the H&R Blocks and the Liberties and things, and they say, okay, we'll give you, this is your anticipated refund. Okay, we're going to lend you X amount of dollars, and you might be anxious to take that. And then the IRS says, no, we're not giving you this deduction. You can't deduct this. Okay, it's not a true dependent because of age or whatever. So you've borrowed money that, again, you have to pay back. That's not going to be part of your income tax return. So again, if you make $56,000 or less in this income tax time, look for a VITA site in Montgomery County. Okay, and they're on the Montgomery County websites. Pawn shops, don't go to there because 9 times out of 10, and the pawn shops will tell you that, you don't go back. If you do pawn something, you may not be going back to get what you pawn, and they have to sell it. They sell it, and you've lost that package. Okay, what you pawned. Plug your spending leaks. What a spending leak is, seemingly a small amount of money spent on non-essentials that add up over time. So little things here and there. You might stop at the Starbucks. Nothing I get against Starbucks. I'm talking about habits that people do. That they say, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. I work hard. I'm entitled to it, but maybe you don't need to do that. And that, to me, is a spending leak. Okay, and that does add up over time when you do your budget. I urge you all to put a budget together that have your expenses and everything put down. If you want, I offer free services that I can help you with that, creating your budget and a budget plan. Because you attended this, I'll do that at no charge. Okay, examples of other spending leaks is sodas, coffee, and habits such as cigarettes. I gave that up about 30 years ago. Okay, I'm glad I did. But I was spending a lot of money on cigarettes because I could smoke a pack to 2 packs a day. Okay, and I'm glad I'm not buying cigarettes now because I can't believe the cost of it. Your wants versus your needs. Deciding if you want it or need it helps with spending needs. Do I want this shirt? Do I want this pair of shoes because they look good? Or do I need this because I need it? So that's something to think about and be careful with that. We all are encouraged when we have paychecks or we get our income tax returns, or I'm going to buy this 95-inch TV set. Okay, that's a lot of money to be spent, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but do you need that? Do you need a big flat screen TV set, or will a small flat screen TV set do? Okay, something more within your budget. Okay? Understand credit versus debt. What is a credit report? A credit report is sort of a report card for your financial behaviors, such as paying debt. It shows whether you're paying on time, whether you're paying as agreed. A good thing I could say to you, if you can, if you have a debt that you're paying off and you make that payment, you make that minimum payment. First of all, pay more if you can. If you make the minimum payment, it's going to show on your credit report as paying as agreed. However, if you can do a little more than paying that, and I mean, it doesn't matter how much more. If your bill says you owe $50 and you paid $60 because you can afford it, it's going to show on your credit report as paying more than agreed, okay? Which is going to look good. If I'm somebody who you come to as a lender and I look at your credit report, I'm going to say, oh, not only are they paying their bills, they're paying more than they should to bring down that debt. So you're a likely candidate that I'll lend money to, okay? So if you can, pay more than agreed. Now, the key here is that when you make a payment, part of your payment is going towards the bill and the other part is going towards the interest rate. Any excess that you pay on that bill, 100% of it goes towards what you owe. Nothing goes towards the interest. So in other words, if your bill is $75 and $60 is the debt and $15 is interest, instead you pay $100. That extra money is going to go towards bringing down that debt, well, only $15 is still going to go towards interest. And as you do that, the more bills that come in, you're going to be seeing that you're paying less and less in interest, because the money you owe is going to be less and less, and they can't charge you more for the interest, or the same amount if you're paying down that interest. So what are good uses of credit? Borrowing money for things such as long-term benefits, such as houses and education. That's fine. We expect to do that. What are bad uses of credit? Using credit by the consumer, such as, let me see if I can bring this up a little bit. Yeah, okay. What are bad uses of debt is using credit to buy consumer goods, such as furniture and clothing. Those things don't gain in value. Okay, they wear out. You can't sell them, unlike a car that you can resell a car, unlike a home that you can resell, okay, and make some money off of. But a lot of, there's people that go to these places, these corner places, where they rent furniture and the like. Try not to do that. With renting of the furniture or buying from places like that, you're going to wind up paying 10 times more than the value of that furniture. And like it says here, furniture doesn't gain in value, okay, and neither does clothing. So reducing your debt. Paying interest on debt can be expensive, especially if you have bad credit. Because the ones that are going to lend you money when you have bad credit are going to charge you extreme interest rate. Now, you may be fine, okay, I can walk away, I can do this, I can pay my bills and everything like that, but you're still strapped with a high interest rate. And the more money you borrow on those terms, the longer it's going to take you to pay that back off. Okay, if you are in that situation, I urge you to find all other opportunities to build up your credit, to get a better credit score, so that maybe somewhere down the road, you can refinance that high debt that you've had and be paying high interest on into a smaller interest rate loan. Okay, it'll be a lesser debt, and if your credit has gotten better, you can pay less interest rate. So instead of paying $2 a month for that loan, maybe after a few years, you may get it down to $100. Okay, and you're consistent. Break everything down to manageable steps, which you can do, okay, and what you can afford to do. The basic steps to getting out of debt is prioritizing that. What's most important? Okay, obviously the mortgage, the car loan, things like that, because you need both. You need transportation to get around back and forth to work, and you need to keep a roof over your head. Okay, other things like credit cards or things, that's a little behind that. I'm not saying that's not a priority. However, not as much of a priority as your life survival. If you have to, pay at least the minimum amount due on your credit cards or other debt. Because if you pay the minimum amount, okay, and not less, when it gets reported to the credit bureau, it's going to say paying as agreed. And that's what you want. That's what's going to help build up your score. When you can, pay more than the amount. So like I said, that goes towards the principal balance. And that's the next bullet. Each month, paying extra money towards the debt with the highest priority. Okay, so the one with the biggest amount of money, or the one you need to get rid of, pay a little more on that if you have it. When that debt is paid off, move to the next one on the list. Move that one up. Setting financial goals. Managing money better helps you save for short and long-term goals. A short-term goal you might be saving for might be a concert. And it's astronomical, the amount of money that I'm hearing that concerts cost nowadays. So yeah, if I'm not mistaken, concerts cost a lot of money, and many people have to save up for that. Or a particular type of coat. Maybe you want a winter coat, a nice winter coat, that might cost you a couple of $100. Okay? A long-term goal, examples is, I need a car or a larger apartment. That might take me a couple of years to save for. So put those goals on track, set aside money for those, the automobile or a larger apartment, until you can afford to get out there and get it. Don't go to predatory lenders or anything like that. That's going to put you in such a compromising position later down the road when things catch up, especially if you're getting a larger apartment or buying a home. A larger apartment is going to be more in utility, okay? Because your air conditioning a larger place, you have lights on in more rooms, things like that, you're heating a larger place. So the utility bill is going to be larger than that smaller place that you came from. So in summary, we talked about finding employment, how to go about doing that, how to shop for clothes if you need to do that, finding places that will help you build your resume, use mainstream financial services. I encourage you to look up Bank On, B-A-N-K-O-N. Okay, that's in Gaithersburg, it's throughout Maryland, but in the city of Gaithersburg, there's a lot of opportunities. A lot of organizations are part of the Bank On Gaithersburg, and we can offer you so many opportunities. Many of it cost-free, and a few of the banks that I talked about, where that'll give you the opportunity where you don't have to go through check systems. They'll look at you and they'll say, okay, you do this, you open an account in the savings, put $50 or $100 in there, we'll bypass check systems, okay, and open you up an account. If you don't have Social Security card, as long as you have an I-10 number, okay? So there's a lot of opportunity. If you're in a situation where you got things that you care about, look me up, ask me, and I can refer you if I don't offer the services. Well, Bank On Gaithersburg, okay? Big opportunity. Reduce your debt as much as possible. That's the biggest thing you can do, so you can feel comfortable as life goes on. This is a parent conference, so you have young children. Do the things that I talked about, and by the time your children are going to high school and in college, you're set for that. You're ready for that. Okay, you might have the money that if your child is eligible for this, maybe a private school because of their intellect, or maybe a college that you wanted to go to because you went to that college, okay? Or it's a good college and you want your child to go there to get a good education. You follow some of the steps that I mentioned here. Seek out some of the resources that I mentioned here, and I guarantee you that you'll be in good shape if you stay on course. So I'm sorry I can't answer any questions now, but if you see me around, I'll be here today at the conference. I'll be in one of the waiting rooms to answer any questions that you may want. And again, my name is Ron Jennings at the Jennings Business Group, and I do thank you on that. Okay, have a good day, everyone, and I am going to stop the meeting.